welcome. Thank you very much for being here. I brought you some stories about mobility, and trust me, we are in mobility. Does anybody knows Mrs. Denkhaus? Yeah? Nobody? It's good, otherwise I would be scared because the Denkhaus is my grandma. And I tell you a true story, it was 1924 when two policemen were knocking on the door of my grandpa's house in Duisburg. And they went in and said, Mr. Sebald, we have to arrest you because we saw that you let your wife driving a car. And my granddad says, yes, that's true, that's right, because I don't have a driving license. My grandma was the first female in Duisburg, a big industry city, having a driving license. And in the limited brain, thank you, in the limited brain capabilities of these two policemen, it was impossible. So if we want to see the future, we have to understand the past. Because sometimes the future is here, but we are too blind to see it. Therefore, we need all more space. All right, so what space brings? When we look into electromobility, we have done that in the 60s. And when you see the moon rover, which was driven by David Scott, from the day of ordering to delivery by GM was 17 months. Today, we wait 13 months to get an electrical car in Germany. So what is the problem? We have to understand the past to see the future, and we need more space. And navigation is the sex. You all use spacing technology. Space technology, everybody uses. Navigation, we do that in 30 years. Here was purchased by the German car manufacturers. We navigate and a car produces 25 gigabytes a day. So mobility becomes more digital. Or Earth observation, your weather forecast. Earth observation makes see that jungles are burning, even when people are ignoring that. But mobility and Earth observation brings us also more than the radar, what the weather is doing in 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. And the most important, and this is the third element, we, our space agency, brings to all of you is communication. Look to the roofs of Berlin, all these dishes. This is space of the last decade, of the last century. This is the coverage of mobility, GSM, your mobile phone in the world. You see a lot of white spots. And the telecom, the boss of the telecom always say 5G. But sorry, 5G of the telecom will maybe cover 4% of the planet. What is with the rest? Is there nobody flying, swimming, driving? Is there not the Internet of Things promise? You know who is building that promise? We. Our startups and our companies building small satellites and connecting the last billion on the planet with Internet and all your devices flying, swimming and on. Mr. Musk, OneWeb, other companies doing that. And we in Germany have 3 micro-launcher companies. So connectivity is the third pillar of digitalization built in space. And at the moment we build a glass fiber, not glass fiber, a laser fiber network, connecting you, allowing you the best pathways, and allowing you to navigate. This is electrical mobility. Every third bike sold in Germany is an electrical one, and it made the entire generation becoming mobile again. Cheap in terms of transportation, good for the health of our entire generation, and good for the connectivity and the environment, and good for our society. And companies like Saubermacher and Graz think how to recycle these batteries for the second and the third use. So recycling is already there, but we are too blind to see it because we do not have enough space in our minds. And of course, when we're looking the future customers, that's my boys. I don't know, who is somebody, kids? In the audience, kids? Very good. Look to your kids because they are the better entrepreneurs. So this is Lucas and Johannes, and you know what their problem is? How good is the Wi-Fi? Yeah? If not, because they stream, they don't need a TV. So Lucas in the front, at least he likes cars. That's good for Audi. Yeah? But Johannes, he just wants to go from A to B. So, and this is the reason why companies like maybe Volkswagen start to investing, what we heard, into SIXT, because mobility becomes a software, mobility is a service. And our cities will change, and this has something to see with really with the setup. And this is the mayor of Bogota. Enrique. Bogota is about 8 million people. And he says a developed country is not where the poor people driving cars, it's where the rich people using public transportation. Why a bike for $300 or a bus ticket for $2 has the same right than a car with 60,000 on the street? Half of the cities which mankind will live in 50 years will have to be built. And they will look different. Different mobility concepts. The most valuable space of a city are the roads. So why a bus with 80 people has the same right than a car with 1 person? Think about it. How a city would look like in Toronto, you can build it from scratch. And trust me, it's just not an added biker line. I love cars. Yeah? I love riding a cars. But for the big cities, sorry, we need a different concept of mobility. And we have one startup company, one of about 220 we support every year. Maybe you heard about them, Lilium Aviation. We helped these gentlemen when there were 4 boys. And I remember in the selection, because the gentleman said, why we support them? They compete against Airbus, they will never make it. And we said, if we do not support them, who else does? Our job is to help the crazy ones, the round heads in the square holes, and increasing their likelihood of success. And in future, when you're in Rotterdam and New York and you have a meeting in another tower, you just go to your device, type in "Fly Me Now," and pre-book the cab in 10 minutes, and it will for the cost of a normal air ticket or a cab ticket. It will cost you $30, but it will save you maybe half an hour being in traffic. So let's use this aerospace golf, which is unused in the cities. And this will fly pure electrical. And the people who start, typical German, complain, this will not work. Normally, when they complain, it's a good sign for startups because somebody's pissed, which is good. It's not pissed off, maybe also pissed. But this is something which is good. If people say this will not work, be even more pushing in that direction. It will work because the flight time to one house to another will be 3 minutes and then you recharge. It's not the replacement of a car driving 300 kilometers to your holiday destination. Or some easy solutions, like in Kronach, Franken, Bavaria. The non-urban areas, this is the problem. But sometimes there are easy solutions with old technology and just helping each other, like we humans always do, or should do. And software becomes the driver. So Volkswagen will make a new OS, and then when they restart, has even a mistake, like here. Sorry, then we have a problem. If the software in the car has the same quality than the software on your PC, sorry, then we are sucked. Then we're really screwed. But this is the trend. Mobility becomes a software. And Tesla was doing that very nicely when the Hurricane Ina was there. They were giving extra mobility to all the Tesla drivers online. We have to be more flexible, very difficult for the Germans, because we have to be flexible with our traffic, what we can do and what we can't. And we will have autonomous driving sooner or later. Because when we're looking at our driver, our power is within our brain. But the limitation is our curriculum. So a computer can be as big as a warehouse. And via telecommunication, it will be driving our cars and making old people, especially in the non-urban areas, in the landside, being connected again and being driving. But that will take a time. And new fuels, I want to have a 5-liter canister of hydrogen with a battery plug, because if I go to my holiday destination, I want to have a range extender. Can we please produce that? Because this is what we do in space. We're thinking about filling stations in space. Because why bring all the petrol up if you cannot go to Aral filling station? And we have crazy companies bringing back satellites. And this company was competing against Airbus, Clear Space, and got a contract next month of 150 million to get space debris back to Earth, a Swiss startup. So you can win, you can make the change. This will be the AAA, the ADAC of the future. And if we do everything right, we will have more traffic again, and Lufthansa will not complain, and thinking about the future. And when we're allowed to travel after Corona, maybe Lufthansa gives us long-term travel. My name is Frank Salzgeber, and I believe we all need more space. And I'm the head of the Innovation Venture Office at ESA. Thank you very much.